How you doing, Kathy? Excuse the crappy beanie. My head is cold today. Mainly because I weed whacked it earlier, although there wasn't that much hair to begin with. And Rudy's in the door. Where is the Runbo? Come on, Ron. Ronbo, where are you? Good, you're good. How is our favorite person? Is she doing better? My Thanksgiving was as to be expected. It was me and my Cornish hen. Greatly improved. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Maybe this is finally the end of it. Fingers crossed. Gee, where is Ron? That's odd for him to be this late. We'll give him another minute or so. Come on, Ron, we're waiting. Well, let's get started. Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, starring the Grumpy Old Man, and we are brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow. Thank you. You know, Kathy, living out in the country, you're used to having animals dash out into the road in front of you. Well, coming back from Dollar Tree today, I had a goddamn deer bolt out in front of me and cross the road. I was like, Jesus Christ. Now I understand how these goddamn accidents happen. I mean, this deer come out of nowhere. It was like somebody dropped it right from the sky. I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I have seen pictures of accidents involving wild animals out in the country. You don't expect them when you're driving down a normal city street. This thing came out of nowhere. Luckily, I wasn't going that fast. But I mean, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move. And then next thing you know, this thing leaps out, lands in front of me, leaps again. I was like, Jesus. I wanted to stop the car and tell the son of a bitch, get back in my backyard where you belong. Another split second, had I been going maybe another mile an hour faster, it would have landed on the hood. That's how close it landed when it hit. It was doing this, you know. Although my buddy, well, my buddy's son, the one that is the state trooper up in Alaska, he sent back pictures of a guy who was driving a big, I think it was a Lincoln Navigator. I mean, big SUV. And he hit a moose. And you could not recognize that as a vehicle. He hit the moose, it flipped in the air, it landed on the roof, and just crushed the roof. Luckily, the guy that was driving only got a couple of scrapes and bruises, but the damage that moose did to that SUV was scary. If I'd have hit that son of a bitch, it would have totaled my car. Holy shit. It didn't come back through the windshield, did it? Because a lot of times that's what happens. They end up in the car. Matter of fact, he had sent pictures of, what the hell? I'm trying to think of the caribou. He sent pictures of a caribou that ended up inside the car. And luckily, it missed the driver. But the scary thing was, it wasn't dead. And the guy had a hell of a time bailing out of the car because the goddamn caribou was kicking the shit out of everything trying to get out of the car. But had I been going 1 mile an hour faster, it would have landed on the hood. That's how close that goddamn thing was. And a blink of an eye. that's why basically uh, when I would go, when I had my Screaming Eagle, my buddy used to like to ride in the valley at night. And I told him, I said, no goddamn way. I said, there is no way I am riding in the valley at night. It's bad enough during the day. I said, I've heard too many horror stories. And I said, this bike is basically a one of a kind. Because it was the only Road King Screaming Eagle 100th anniversary that was built with a 6-speed transmission. The only one. Matter of fact, when I sold it, I gave the guy the certification. I said, this is a one of one, buddy. I said, you have a very rare machine here. How you doing tonight, Ronbo? Yeah, you got to figure even a baby moose is probably weighing in 500 pounds. The moose that hit the SUV, that Lincoln Navigator, they estimated him at about 2,000 pounds. People don't realize how big a moose is. Boy, when certain things happen that tell you you're going to have a bad day. Well, this morning, I'm getting dressed, and since it's a little colder than normal, I dug out the old thermal. I put it on, I blow a hole in this elbow, and boy, did I blow a hole in this one. I said, screw it, I'm wearing the goddamn thing. So tonight it will become a short sleeve thermal shirt. Yeah, I put the thing on, I stretch. Oh, man. And then I looked at this one. Talk about a blowout. They don't make this shit like they used to. God, I remember back in the day, I had thermal underwear 10, 15 years. I think I've only had this one like 2 years. So I guess this was kind of foreshadowing my almost hitting a deer. And usually, I don't come back that way from Dollar Tree. I take the 130th Street access ramp up to Bel Air and take Bel Air up to Dollar Tree. Then I take Bel Air back. Well, I had to get smokes. So I decide, I'll take Bel Air all the way and I turned off of Bel Air. I can't remember the name of the side street. And that side street's got a lot of trees on it. And that deer had to come out from behind a tree. I didn't see it. Scared the shit out of me. I almost had to turn around and go back to Dollar Tree and buy underwear. I have noticed now they have a $3 section, a $5 section, and a $7 section. But the majority of the store is now $1.50. Now I did get a few items for $1.25, but I would say in the dollar items, 80% of the store is now $1.50. So you can see what, inflation is doing to even what used to be, well, it's still a bargain. I mean, like, perfect example. I got a big bottle of that. I love that awesome spray cleaner. $1.50. If I was to buy that at Mark's or Gigantic Eaglet, it's like almost $4. Yeah, there must be something going around, Ron, because I've been on the cold side today. That's why I've got this ugly old beanie on. Matter of fact, it's from the Halloween house my son used to work at, 7 Floors of Hell. He, he got a lot of merchandise for free. I've got the beanie, and then I've got my hoodie. Well, down in the basement, if it wasn't so heavy, I'd bring it up here. They used to have a skeleton. It looks like a zombie, the skin's kind of falling off it and that. And it was motorized, and it broke, and they decided to shit can it. Well, my kid goes in the dumpster and he drags this thing home. We used to put it out on Halloween. I'd bring it up and sit it next to me, but oh my God, is it heavy. The framework that they have it mounted on. But every now and then it scares the shit out of me. I go down the basement and I look like, whoa! Because he's got it sitting in a chair. Oh, it's all beat to shit. I should throw it out, but it's light. It's just enough to take the chill off my head today. Then I got the old hot comb out, and I straightened my beard today. I did a good hot combing because it was starting to get. It looked like a mattress explosion. So I got the old hot comb out and I straightened it and I sprayed it down with some beard oil. Gave it gave it the treatment. Oh, that don't sound good, Ron. Sounds like she's coming down with something. I hope not. Christ, going to the vet is worse than going to the hospital. Jesus. Matter of fact, I had to find a new vet because I couldn't afford to go. Well, my vet was very reasonable until they joined this VCA, Veterinary Clinics of America. And boy, I'll tell you, their prices tripled overnight. And since they're now a member of this VCA, no payment plans anymore either. It's either cash or credit, period. That was one of the reasons I always went there, is because if the bill got a little out of hand, they would do a payment plan. The girl went, no, we're not allowed to do that anymore. We're, a member of this nationwide association. I said, well, see ya. I had to find a new vet. The one I've got now is an Indian. Well, I'll tell you what, not here. Not here. Their prices tripled here. Their office call went from $35 to $90. I said, you've got to be kidding. Matter of fact, when the girl told me that, I said, cancel the appointment right now. I'm leaving. Not here. I don't. I would guarantee they have lost a shitload of customers. The vet that I go to now is a little private mom and pop operation. It's a. I would say this guy's got to be in his 70s. Little old Indian guy. The whole family works the operation. And he is super reasonable. Super. Because I told him, I said, I used to go up to Brand X. And I said, since they became a part of this VCA, he said, oh, you don't have to tell me. He says, I got a lot of new customers. Oh, I'm quite happy with him. Office call is $25. And his prices are super reasonable. Like he told me, he says, I might not have the most modern equipment here. But he says, I've got equipment that does the job. He said, why should I go out and buy a $300,000 x ray machine when my used one here takes perfect x rays? Oh, I'll tell you what, since my old vet became a member of this VCA, oh, they got now specialty doctors. They even have a vet psychiatrist. I said, what? Yeah, they have a vet psychiatrist. But like the receptionist told me, they needed to upgrade a lot of their equipment. And the only way they could do it was by joining this VCA because they have, you know, probably across the United States, 100,000 vets. So they get pretty decent discounts from manufacturers. But they don't pass that discount along to me. Luckily, it was a wellness checkup. It was Boots' annual wellness checkup. And it was $90 before I even sat my ass in a chair. I said, see ya. I'm out of here. You won't be seeing me no more. And I haven't been back since. Marianne got forced going there on an emergency basis. And I can't remember what they did with the cat. A couple of shots, some oral medication. It was $1,400. She stopped going there too. She goes to some vet over in Euclid now. A friend of hers lives out there and recommended a vet. Like I told the receptionist, I said, I've been coming here for well over 20 years. I said, you won't see me back. If you're not willing to work with customers, like you say, when I had the other tuxedo socks, he had a nasty, well, he had urinary tract infection, he had kidney stones. I can't remember what the bill was, but they let me make payments. And luckily, he ended up all right. I had him like 15 years. Well, I still have him. He's just now in a little box on my desk. Matter of fact, I was gonna order an urn, and I'll tell you what, the ashes are in a beautiful black lacquered box. I decided I'll just leave well enough alone. But he's right at the corner of the console here. I can't remember what I paid for that cremation service. They made it quite reasonable. I wish I would have done that with my big tabby, because I had him 22 years. Matter of fact, when I unfortunately had to put him down, the receptionist said, "How old is he?" I said, 22, and she went, "What?" I said, "Yep, he hung in there as long as he could." Although today, when I was at Dollar Tree, I was quite surprised all the new products they have. God, their laundry section is 2 times the size that it was. I got, what did I get today? Lavender scenties. I like that before you start your laundry, you shake in the the scenties. Great, they must have had 50 different types of dryer sheets, every flavor imaginable. Honeysuckle, lavender, gardenia. I got the lavender to go with the scenties, and the lavender laundry detergent. I even got lavender awesome. I'm on a lavender kick today. Then I got a good laugh. I go over because I like to keep a package of, I'm going to call them baby wipes. They're for cleaning your hands, or if you got grease on your face or something. I like to keep them in the car. I walk over. They have regular, vanilla, cherry blossom, gardenia, and pine. I'm like, pine? I could see somebody using it as a baby wipe. How come your kid smells like a Christmas tree? Well, I don't know. I just changed his diaper and I use these baby wipes. Oh, pine scent. I'm like, who the hell is going to buy pine scented wet wipes? I mean, I could kind of understand cherry blossom, but pine scent? Yeah, I'm looking at cherry blossom, gardenia, lavender, pine scent. Pine scent? I like to keep a package in the car. Like if I get my hands dirty, especially like if I'm checking the oil. Like, oh, I got oil on my hands. You know, I can't see using pine scent. As a matter of fact, I figured I'll look at all of them. And they have those large, they're large sheets. And they're something that you would use like on somebody that is like bedridden, give them a quick wipe down. They had the regular ones, unscented, and then right next to it, vanilla coconut. I'm vanilla coconut. Hey, Grandpa, I got to give you a little wipe down here. Somebody walks in and goes, I smell vanilla and coconuts. Yeah, it's Grandpa. You know when I started, Kathy? During COVID. Because they had the disinfectant wipes, the alcohol, and I just got in the habit of carrying a pack in the car because they come in handy. And the packages are small enough they fit right in the console. So I have cherry blossom in the console. Yeah, they come in handy. You get something on your hands and you don't the average person doesn't carry a rag or roll of paper towels. And they're handy. Just pop one out. So I'm slowly outfitting the Passat. I have my little personal first aid kit in there. That fits real nice in the door pouch. And then I needed some wet wipes. And the package was perfect size, drops right in the console. So, because I need to carry a first aid kit because, God, if I get a little cut or a scrape, I bleed like a stuck pig. Of course, I've been taking a baby aspirin every day for years. But man, they thin your blood down, but boy, you bleed. I know one day Boots scratched me on the hand and it bled for like 2 hours. I was like, Jesus. So I have my little first aid kit with a bunch of Band-Aids in it. I carry Band-Aids in my wallet, Band-Aids in the drawer of the console. I got Band-Aids everywhere. Because I had, during COVID, I had a routine. First of all, I always wore my mask. And I always had hand sanitizer. I would have a small bottle in my pocket. I would have some in the console. Then I had the sanitizing wipes because I wiped the steering wheel down and I don't know, maybe I went overboard, but because I hand sanitize my hands and wipe the steering wheel down and the door handle. So I got in the habit of keeping those wipes in the car. So now I have cherry blossom. But I couldn't believe pine scent. I'm like, who the hell would pine scent? I could see me, under the hood and I get a little grease or something on my forehead. Wipe my face with pine scent. You smell like a pine cone. I know. Walk in somewhere and somebody goes, "You smell like you shit a Christmas tree." Because well, I wore the mask and used the sanitizer. Gee, 2020, 2021. When did they say we could go maskless? 2022? I even still wore the mask up until probably mid-year. Matter of fact, that's what I need to put back in the car. I need to put a mask in the car. I've got a couple of real good ones because they're washable and they have a filter and you can change the filters. The mask looks like you're ready to skin dive. It's got that little filter on the front. I used to carry a box of throwaways too. I I think when I used them up, I didn't replace them. But I have noticed now with the cold weather, I'm seeing more and more seniors. I guess I should dig the old mask out and put them in the car. be on the safe side. Don't need to catch nothing. But I could not believe I'm looking at them, unscented, cherry blossom, gardenia, lavender, vanilla, pine scent. I was going to get a pack just for the hell of it and hang them around the house. I miss the smell of a Christmas tree. I really do. Because I used to get a live one every year. But now, the hell am I going to put a Christmas tree up for? Bah, humbug. Although back in the day, yeah, back in the day, you know, when I close my eyes, I can't see. Oh. Matter of fact, tomorrow morning I have to Xerox some more blood pressure charts. I'm down to my last one here. It's coming down. Oh, we had a little excitement on the street this morning. I'm not positive, but I think my neighbor passed away. The police were here, the fire department or EMS was here. Then they left. And my son thought he saw the coroner's van. God, there were cars everywhere. I think every family member on earth was parked out on the street. God, I hope it's not the old guy. I never met him. We wave because he's like 4 houses up. I hope it's not him. If he was out front with his grandkids, as soon as he'd see me, he'd wave. Hey! I never met him, though. Although, and Kathy, you probably, well, you're down in God's country, but, back in the day, you knew every neighbor on a first name basis. You knew at least 90% of their phone numbers. Nobody is social like they used to be. Now, I got Marianne, I got Carlos, and then next to Carlos is Greenwood, and Rob across the street, and, when Jim was alive, I don't know anybody else. I see them all the time, cutting their grass, they wave, I wave. Back in the day, I knew every single neighbor in the neighborhood. Everyone. I could walk down the street and go, that's Bob, that's Sue, that's Sally, that's Jim, that's Tom. But we were all social. Every neighbor talked to, everybody was friendly. And now, it's sad. It's well, I knew everybody because I grew up delivering the Cleveland Press. As a matter of fact, to this day, I can walk down the street and tell you every person that lived there when I was growing up. Matter of fact, I do it every now and then. I'll drive down the street and go, okay, that was Saunders, that was McShane, that was Golden, that was Tischler. I knew every person, everyone. And even when I had my house down the street, I knew everybody around me because we would all get together and socialize. Now, although, back in the day, people sat on their front porch in the summer and they would talk, not nowadays. Nah, mm-mm. It's sad. It really is. Back in the day, I remember usually Sunday was lawn cutting day. And everybody would help one another. I would be cutting the lawn, and one neighbor would be edging, and another one would be trimming my shrubs. And then we would go over to their house, and I remember when George and Julie moved in, they backed the U-Haul into the driveway, and we all went over and helped unload, helped them move in. And then we threw a barbecue afterwards to welcome them to the neighborhood. Not anymore. It is sad. It really is. And now that the shitty weather is here, like I make the joke, I could be dead in this house for a couple of months and people wouldn't know. Back in the day, you kind of, oh, okay, Bill and Mary just went to the store, would keep an eye on things. Although back in the day, nobody locked their house either. Christ, I can remember we'd leave the house, the windows would be open. Although we didn't have a key to the house, so we couldn't lock it. Christ, in the summer, everybody, their windows would be open. They'd leave to go grocery shopping. Nobody broke in. Nobody robbed them. Now, Christ, you got to have 47 deadbolts on your door, bars on your window, and electric fence around your house. Although, being out where you're at, Kathy, I tend to think that you're kind of relaxed about things, or no? Is the country even getting kind of crappy? Christ, my father used to leave the goddamn keys in the ignition. Not today. You got to have three different alarm systems, 47 different key fobs. Oh, really? Wow. Even the country's starting to suck, huh? God, that's sad. Country living isn't what it used to be. Christ, I remember when my aunt and uncle had the farm. If they went into town, there were times they wouldn't even close the door. Especially if it was hot during the summer. Leave the front door open, leave the back door open, all the windows open. Drive into town, grocery shop, come back. Nobody fucked with your house. Yeah, I remember one time when I was staying there because I used to help out during the summer. And my uncle had to go to the hardware store. And I shut the side door and he went, "What are you doing that for?" I said, he goes, "Leave it open. The house is airing out. I got the front door open." Okay. Christ, he didn't even shut the goddamn barn doors. Somebody could have stole a tractor, all of his cows and pigs and ducks. Not like that today. Hey, have you have you ever watched the YouTube channel Laura Farms? It's a young couple that basically they both came from farming families and they bought a small farm and it's amazing because over the last couple of years they have bought up a lot of old, old school farming equipment. And a couple years ago, she planted a sweet corn patch. They bought like a 30-year-old tractor and a 50-year-old plow and all kinds of old equipment from farm auctions and that because they don't want to lose the old tradition. And I think it's kind of neat because they have super up to date modern equipment, but they also farm like their grandfathers. It's a real interesting, it's called Laura Farms. I would say they're in their late 20s, early 30s, maybe, if they're that old. But they farm both ways. Because when she planted the sweet corn, they went out and they bought this old John Deere tractor and this old plow and planted sweet corn like they did 50 years ago. But they also have a gazillion acres that they use modern equipment. Because when she plowed the acreage for the sweet corn, she was commenting that she don't know how the hell the farmers did it because they have these new tractors where they're all computerized with a geofence and they drive themselves. She just sits back, and the tractor's driving itself or the combine driving itself. And then they bought all this old equipment to farm the way their grandparents and great grandparents did. It's I enjoy watching her videos. Real down to earth young couple. Because they even bought like a 60-year-old combine with no amenities whatsoever. Now the combine that they have is like $400,000. It drives itself. It's air conditioned. But it's interesting how they take you through today's farming, but then they go old school. And the old school is what I remember when I was helping my uncle on his farm. Sometime when you're got some time on your hands, go to her YouTube channel, Laura Farms, Laura, Laura Farms. I like her cat. She's got a black cat. It's got a big white blaze under its chin. And it's the friendliest thing on earth. It's always riding with her in the tractor or the cat's cute. And a while back the cat had kittens. Oh God, the kittens were adorable. Of course, I'm a sucker for kittens anyway. That's why I quit going to PetSmart or, yeah, PetSmart. Because they have an adoption center. And the one time I went in there and they had a baby Boots, boy, was I tempted. I was like, oh, God. Although I think they wanted like $90. So I quit going there. I was teasing myself like, oh, look at them kittens. Oh. Two cats is enough. Actually, the one is my son's, not mine. The little itty bitty thing. God, they were both sitting side by side today. Here's Tubbo, and she's sitting next to him, and she looks like a kitten. Well, she only weighs 4 pounds. And Tubbo, 22, you know. Well, I could have killed him last night. Every time he woke up. Will you let me sleep already? Jesus. Then I move, and he moves. And I move, and he moves. And next thing you know, I'm hanging off the fucking bed. I'm like, will you move over? Yeah, I was literally on the edge of the bed, almost ready to fall off. Move over. Then he gets all pissed off. I was asleep. Well, you can go back to sleep over there. So have you got snow yet, Kathy? I mean, shit that sticks. Because I know you get snow in that area, don't you? Or you just get a little powder and then it melts, and you get a little powder and it melts. Luckily, it didn't snow last night. No snow? Boy, you're lucky. Well, you know what it's like up here. I hope the shit melts. And we don't get any more snow for a while. Too early for that crap. Yeah, but it don't stick. So you basically get more rain than you get snow. Well, you'll have to let me know. But you're not going to get the shit like we got up here. Christ, 3 inches. And then my dumb ass. Oh, God, am I pissed at myself. You know, the antenna was broken on the car. So instead of getting that spindly antenna, I got one of them shark fins. It mounts with double stick tape. It seals down against the roof. I'm not thinking. You know, I got that much snow on the roof of the car. I get the old shop broom. And all of a sudden I snap. Broke the goddamn thing right off the roof. Now I have to order another one. Piss me off. I forgot all about it. I forgot it was there. And, you know, once you break the seal on the double stick tape, it won't stick anymore. I was like, God damn it, I've only had that thing about 3 weeks. And regular double stick tape won't work. This is a special adhesive to stick to the paint on the roof. Took that broom. Oh, as soon as I hit it, I knew. Oh, you dumbass. I was like, God damn it. So I ordered another one. I mean, it's only $10, but $10 I didn't want to spend. Couldn't believe I did that. Could not believe I did that. No more using a shop broom to clear snow up. Well, I can use a shop broom as long as I come up about 10 inches. Because that thing is like right close to the back window. And I took that broom and dunk. Oh, no. And of course, now the radio goes in and out because the thing isn't affixed anymore. I'm listening to the radio, goes out, comes back, goes out, comes back. So I put the cassette player on. I was listening to Amy Grant Christmas. Grumpy playing Christmas carols. Although I need to dig out my box of cassettes, or CDs, cassettes. I need to dig my CDs out. because the cartridge holds 6. I guess it's time for my ABBA CDs. What the hell's going on here? So, Kathy, all the leftovers gone now? I finished the last of my Dutch apple pie last night. Then I go to Mark's and no pie. I was like, what happened to all the pie? She says, we won't have pie until a week before Christmas now. I knew I should have stocked up. Should have got a couple of Dutch apple and a couple more sweet potato. Yeah, I took my 2 jars of pickled eggs and I turned them and shook them in the jar to make sure that they were getting all colored. Although I don't know why I didn't get it. I saw a really nice jar at Dollar Tree today. It was big enough where I'm sure it would have held a dozen eggs at once. And it had a nice sealing lid. I should have bought the damn thing. Now it gives me an excuse to go back and get some more cherry blossom wipes. Maybe I'll get a pack of pine scent just to hang around the house. So it smells like I have a Christmas tree here. What was it, I think 2 years ago, Mark's had those scented pine cones in a bag. Oh my God, those things they were enough to gag you. They were so strong. I think I threw half of them away. Ugh. And then I needed a box of heavy duty plastic silverware. So I go back in the area of the store. Now they have disposable cups, napkins, every kind of paper plate you would ever want. No plastic silverware. I'm like, wait a minute, you got every size disposable cup. You got small napkins, big napkins. You got regular paper plates. You got Chinette bowls. no silverware. So there was a guy stocking. And I says to him, I said, I need some heavy duty plastic silverware, not the crappy, you go to put a fork in the pie and the fork breaks. He goes, they're way up in the front of the store. I said, what? He says, yeah, up by paper towels. I go up by the paper towels, and sure enough, there's the plastic silverware. So I get up to the service desk, and Olivia's working at the service desk, and I said, this store's enough to drive me crazy. She said, why? I said, back in that area of the store, you got 57 sizes of napkins, 320 different types of paper plates and bowls, and the plastic silverware's over here? She goes, yep. She goes, everybody complains. It made no sense. Why would you not have plastic silverware with all that disposable bowls and plates and napkins and cups? And no, the plastic silverware is over with the paper towels. Hey, Ron, what are you making for dinner tonight, buddy? I'm doing gourmet hot dogs again tonight. I'm going to finish them up. I have just enough onion to chop. I got my hot dog sauce, my hot dog chili, nice fresh buns. I think tomorrow I've got 2 pieces of Italian sausage left, regular and hot. I'm going to slice it up and I'm going to put it in the spaghetti sauce. And I think I'm going to have pasta tomorrow. I bought them tri-colored curly Q pasta. White, orange, and green. Nothing like green pasta. It looks moldy. But I like the curly Qs because they hold more sauce than just angel hair. What do they call it? Rotini? I know, they're the curly Qs. My grandmother used to use them when she would make macaroni salad. She said it made the macaroni salad look more appealing when you had white curly Qs, orange curly Qs, and green. Yeah, I've been using them for years, Kathy. Every now and then I'll get angel hair because sometimes I like regular pasta. But when you do a twirl of angel hair, all the sauce falls off. So I get the curly Qs because I want some spaghetti sauce on my pasta. Same thing if I make macaroni salad, I just like them better. To me, they got a better pasta flavor, if there's such a thing. I think I'm losing my mind, Kathy. Really losing my mind tonight. I think I asked once before, does your grandson know how to drive the truck already? Have you started teaching him or too early? Plus, is he a bit of a gearhead? Does he get out there and tinker around with the truck, knowing that one day it's going to be his? I know I would be messing with it, out there polishing it, waxing it. He's learning, good for him. Although he's learning on the big one, isn't he? Aren't you teaching him on yours? So that basically when he gets that one, it'll be a little smaller. Really, he's not. Although kids nowadays aren't like I was, in my generation. God, we always found an excuse to be under the hood. Although cars back in the day were way easier to work on. Boy, I've learned that with the Passat. Yes. That's why I won't part with the Nissan. Even though it's a 97, it's still fairly easy to work on. You got a Jeep? You're holding out on me. You didn't tell me you had a Jeep. Oh, man. The one vehicle I've always wanted to own. I always wanted to own a Jeep. God, I tried buying the one up the street. That woman wouldn't part with that thing. It's like an 87, and it looks like new. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when she told me it was an 87. I was like, holy shit. Oh, I thought it was yours. I was going to say, you're holding out on me. Although back in God's country, you got to own a Jeep and a 4x4. Jeep with big honking tires. Like, oh God, what's the judge? What's her name? Miss Stay Out of Fulton County. I can't think of her name. She was off YouTube for a while. She got busted because she went ballistic one day. Oh, God, what is her name? I can't think of her. Pre-trial. Oh, that's the only way to drive a Jeep. You got to take the doors off. And the top. Manning. Yeah. Her and her husband have custom mud bogging Jeeps. They're identical. And every weekend they go mud bogging. She showed the Jeeps one day. She showed a picture. God, they got big honking swamper tires on them. Goddamn tires are bigger than the Jeep. All right, Rudy, have a good one. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when she said that one day, she goes, I'm going to let you in on a little personal thing. And she showed these honking Jeeps. And her and her husband have identical Jeeps, and they go mud bogging. Yeah, that's the one vehicle I've never owned. I've always wanted one where I could take the top off and take the doors off, and this one up the street, man, is it clean. I couldn't believe when she said 87. She's giving it to her son. God, I begged her to sell that. She goes, stand in line. She goes, every time somebody drives down the street, they stop and want to buy it. Because it basically sat in the driveway for the longest time. And finally, she was out. And I says to her, I says, that Jeep for sale? No. I know, come on. It's been sitting here for years. She goes, oh, I start it up every now and then. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saving it for my son. I think he just turned 16 because I noticed it's not in the driveway anymore. It's on the street now. So evidently he must have finally got his license. But it sat there for years. Because I said, I hope I'm not pissing you off. And she goes, no, everybody wants to buy it. Because every now and then a tire would go flat and she'd air it back up. Orange. It's orange. With a black fiberglass top. With, well, it's got the full doors on it. The full metal doors. Because some of the Jeeps that have the fiberglass tops got them half canvas. But it's, I would say it sat in the driveway at least 6 years. Finally, I worked up, saw her out, turned around, pulled in the driveway. And I got a question. She goes, yes. Is that Jeep for sale? No. I went, it's sitting here. Not for sale. It's for my son. Oh, okay. But when I drove down the street, it's parked in front of the house now. So evidently he must have got his license. Oh yeah, everybody wants a Jeep. It's amazing. She told me she had people stop and just tell her, name your price. Name your price. She said easily she could have got $5,000-$6,000. People were, name your price. She said one guy stood there with a checkbook. Tell me how much. She went, it's not for sale. He said, everything's for sale. Name your price. She went, it's not for sale. But evidently her son finally got his license because the other day it was on the street with brand new license plates. So I'm like, well, I just hope he doesn't screw it up. Kids have a tendency to get a little wild. But it's spotless. There isn't a rough spot on it. An 87. Because I says to her, I said, how's the frame? She said, go look. I looked underneath. Not a spot of rust on the frame. For sitting. I was shocked. I didn't care for the color, though. Boy, glow in the dark orange. And no big honking tires. It's got normal. Matter of fact, it's got white walls. That's what I liked about it. It had white wall tires on a Jeep. I probably dry rot as hell. But she just would not sell it. Yeah, see, Kathy, when they out of sight, the foot tends to lean on that accelerator. Oh, good. You finally got Fiona to eat. Good. Glad to hear it, Ron. Yeah, see, Kathy, when I had my first car, I didn't dare drive like an asshole because my father had too many spies in the area. That's all I would have to do is come home one day and went, oh, Brad said you were driving like an idiot. Give me the keys. It's my car. I bought it. Give me the keys. Christ, I wouldn't have had a car till I was 21 at that rate. As a matter of fact, the only car that I'm getting a little goofy with is the Passat. I'm starting to like that turbo. I can't wait to get up on the freeway. Because I haven't gotten out of third gear yet. But I'm not pushing my luck. I've had, Kathy, in a week, I've had 2 close calls. That idiot that whipped the door open in front of me, and then the goddamn deer today. I'm like, something keeps telling me, don't drive that car. But unfortunately, the truck is dead. Needs a battery. The cold weather got to it. Although I wasn't running it, since it got hit. I backed it in the driveway, and I've been paying more attention to the Passat. So the Nissan said, screw you, I'm going dead now. Although I miss that blast pack. I guess if the snow melts, I'll have to jump start it. Because my goofy battery charger, I'll tell you what, I hate that goddamn battery charger. It's got a computer chip in it. And if a battery is dead, it won't charge. Any other battery charger, you hook it on, it charges. Not the one I got. And you can't buy an old school battery charger anywhere. Everything's got these computer chips in them now, where the battery has to have a certain amount of voltage before it'll charge. Like right now, if I hook that on the battery, it tells me, replace battery. Replace battery. Replace battery. All it needs is a jump start. Too much snow on it right now. I have to wait till the snow melts and then I'll fire it up and drive it around. I actually miss it. But I won't get rid of it. I could be sitting on the frame rail in a milk crate. I won't get rid of it. Marianne, she's really pissing me off. Well, now that you got the Passat, you can junk the RAV4 and you can junk that truck. The RAV4 will get junked when I'm ready. It's not hurting anybody. It's sitting behind the house on the concrete pad. It'll get junk when I'm ready to junk it. And the Nissan, I'm not going to junk. Not to mention I need a backup vehicle, I'm going to have to text message Bill. Find out what the hell's going on with the title to the car. Because, see, that way I can get a temporary tag and then I'll be legal. Because now it's going to work out perfect. If within the week or so I can get a temporary tag, it'll take me into January. The car will be 25 years old. It'll be exempt from the e-check. And then I can order my real WDWL TV license plates. Christ, the last time he text messaged me, he said, I have to get to see my attorney. Well, I realize he's working a shitload of overtime. But I need to be legal, considering, I paid him up front for the car and then put a shitload of money in it to get it going. Because right now, the license plates that are on that car are off the RAV4. Like I say, I don't even own that thing. That's why, I'm taking a risk every time I pull out of the driveway. Legally, it's not mine. It's like driving a stolen car. Oh, I ordered some accessories for it. When they come in, I'll show you more toys. As a matter of fact, my turbo boost gauge came today. Now I can't wait for the weather to get a little warmer so I can install it. And then I'm going to get a oil pressure gauge for it. Because I like knowing what my oil pressure is. Because I ordered the adapter plate for the sending unit. Which it's basically, it's a plate that goes in between the engine and the oil filter. I had one on my Ford Ranger. And then you mount the oil pressure sending unit on this plate. And then you spin the oil filter on. And they work like a charm. So I ordered the adapter. So either tomorrow or Monday I'll order the oil pressure gauge. And maybe the oil temperature gauge too. I had them both in the Ranger. Because I have a water temperature gauge on the dash. So I don't need one of them. I just like having gauges. Because, like they say, only idiots trust idiot lights. With all these sensors, that they have on these new cars, you would think, and it's easy, you would think besides having a temperature gauge, they would give you, an oil pressure gauge for the price of the cars. Jesus. Because I have a gauge pod, because I took all that shit out of the Ranger when I junked it. So I've got the gauge pod to mount on the dash. Matter of fact, I've got a real nice one that mounts on the A-pillar. But the problem is on the goddamn Passat, the A-pillar's got an airbag in it. So you can't screw anything to the A-pillar. I wonder if I could double stick tape it. Well, I didn't even notice. I didn't notice we were in the truck. You should have said something so I could fasten my seatbelt. I didn't even hear the glass packs. Your daughter's got a wood stove? How cool. That is cool. I would love to have a house with a wood stove in it. My middle sister, her husband put one in their family room. Because I remember it turned into a major construction project because he had to lay a pad, a concrete pad, and then he had to fire brick behind it. And it was neat. It had two doors. And then underneath it were had two fans. And he could aim them and they would heat the room up. I love that wood stove. I would sit in that family room for hours. But I remember he had to pour, God, they busted up the floor in the family room, and he poured a concrete pad, and then he built a fire brick wall behind it. And then he had the vent stack went out. Yeah, it was neat though. It looked like something like out of the 1800s. It had two glass doors that would open up. He put the logs in. And then, like I say, underneath it, it had a fan that blew the heat in the room. I could sit and watch that thing. My sister would come in and go, "What are you watching?" The TV's not on. I'm watching the fire. I like watching a fire. Now, in the house that she's got now, they've got a big honking fireplace. They had the house built, and he drove all over farm country collecting rocks. And when they built a fireplace in the living room, they built it with all these fucking rocks that he got from all over the place. It looks neat. I've seen it in a picture. I'm not invited. I'm not allowed in their new house. It's okay. I ain't driving out to Litchfield to go look at their fireplace anyway. That's like 3 or 4 years ago. For her birthday, my brother-in-law bought her a candy apple red Mustang convertible. I don't think she's driven it 5 times. It sits in the garage. Oh, really? Oh, that's got to be cool. That's got to be cool. Yeah, you need moisture. Yeah, because fireplace air is dry. Very dry. I think, if I remember right, I think they had a water pan behind their fireplace, their freestanding. I think they had a water pan behind it. But I loved sitting there in that family room. That was when we were still talking. When I was allowed to come over to the old house. I'm not allowed in the new house. Although I told her, I ain't driving 60 miles to come visit you. No big deal. As a matter of fact, Kathy, you'll love it. I have a couple of looping clips, and I can bring the computer in and set the monitor up and have a fireplace. They're on a looping video. I had it up here, well, for New Year's I had it up. Sit here and go, oh, nice fire back here. My back is getting hot. Matter of fact, I got to bring that in. Time to set that thing up. Well, I think it's about that time, peoples. All right, where's my stylus? Oh, There it is. Why did I put it there? Dumbass. Oops, that's not the stylus, that's a pen. Where is the stylus? What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Duh. Yeah, that makes for a Christmas morning. All right. We know where, right here. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks for being here. And we will meet again tomorrow night. Take care.